How exciting was that article? Welcome back, guys. So, Tamam, Shud. This story is quite an old story. It takes place in 1948. A mysterious man, well-dressed, was found lying dead on the beach in Australia. At first, when people were walking past, they just thought he was out cold, but upon closer inspection, they realized, no, he is actually dead.
He's out really cold.
So cold, it's too cold. Yeah. So the police started to investigate him, but there was no ID. They checked inside his clothing, no labels, nothing to identify him, except perhaps a tiny scrap of paper. It was in his pocket. And on it was a little piece of poetry, a piece of a poem. That's the Tamam Shud, from the title of this mystery, which means apparently in Persian, it's over.
Done.
It's over.
Finished.
So yeah, they traced back the origin of this piece of paper, but again, how did it get in his pocket? Did he put it in his pocket, or was that did someone kill him and then put it in the pocket, or is it a random coincidence? Was he just into poetry? Very mysterious. So then they looked on the back of the book. So they found the book in his car nearby, and on the back of the book, there seemed to be some kind of coded message. And if you saw in the article, it's just, I'm not going to read it out, but it's just sort of seemingly random letters. It looks like some kind of code, and people have been trying to crack that code, coming up with various theories, but no one is 100% sure if it's a code or what it means. It may be just gibberish scribbled on the back of the piece of paper. After 75 long years, we've made a lot of advances in forensic genealogy. So they were able to figure out who this man actually was. Carl Webb. Not the most exciting name for the protagonist of a great mystery, but there we go. And he did have an interest in poetry.
Yeah. Very insane story.
Totally
I believe
insane.
there is, I don't know if this is in the article, but the well-dressed part was because he did have a certain suit and tie that was a bit odd to have, especially during that time and that place. And if I remember the story correctly, they might have traced that back to his brother, or at least someone who he borrowed it from.
So he was wearing someone else's suit, though.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe he borrowed a suit to make to look good, maybe to impress his soon-to-be ex-wife or something. And then, but still don't know what all the cryptic messages were about.
What was that?
A lot of speculation, tossing around ideas, but they at least know his name now.
I think when I did this story with my students, they speculated that maybe the ex-wife had hired a hitman because he was trying to reconcile with her, and she didn't want that. She wanted to get rid of him for good. Not just divorce him, but goodbye.
Make him go out cold forever.
But do you think that's a credible theory? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about your students on that one, but it's as good as any for right now. Have you ever seen someone like lying out cold in public trying to sleep it off, that thing? What happened?
Every morning, yeah. I get on the subway at Chungjeongno station, and there's always some well-dressed person, with the shoes neatly piled and
Carl,
looking very peaceful. Just 5 o'clock in the morning, just preparing for work.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's it. I mean, I think that happens a lot.
I love the fact, though, in Korea that no one will steal his shoes. I know that. The shoes are safe.
The shoes are safe, but is everything else safe?
I don't check in too much detail, but I do know that if that was Manchester, those shoes would be gone in seconds.
I wonder why shoes? Oh, because they're easiest to
whatever, without waking him up.
I see.
Rummage around in the pockets and stuff, it could wake him up and then he could be. Anyway, that's my theory.
That's your theory, okay. And we're sticking to it. Yes.
I am.
Interesting, yeah. No, I've never seen an out cold person too bad, but I did see someone so drunk they stumbled and fell.
Oh, no.
Smashing their head against a pot. No blood, don't worry. But it did kind of make them dazed for a bit, so we did have to call the ambulance, which he refused and walked away before they arrived, and so we just told them the direction of the fellow. But it seems like he had a lot of experience with that situation.
Have there been any famous cases in your country where a deceased person could not be identified?
You know, I tried to think of this, and I couldn't think of one in America that's really, really famous, but I did want to give a shout out to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Which
Moscow?
is... No.
There is one in Moscow,
Okay.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
This is in, I believe many countries have this same concept.
I see.
This is in Arlington, Virginia, and it's basically a place that gives homage to the soldiers who die, who never return home, and whose names may not be recovered, or especially whose bodies may not be recovered. So shout out to you guys. But yeah, famous cases, there's tons, but I don't know how famous they are.
Let's take a closer look at some of the vocabulary you met in this article.
Cryptic.
Cryptic.
Toss.
Toss.
Deranged.
Deranged.
Credible.
Credible.
Forensic genealogy.
Forensic genealogy.